What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, the secondary VW owner, Ignite Media, here to help out today because we're doing the Mark 8 PCV retrofit. This should be not terribly more difficult than a normal Mark 7 PCV job. I've been having issues with this PCV since about a week after we installed it. Some of you may remember I was chasing some boost leak issues when I first did the upgraded turbo, and we traced it back to the PCV. We swapped it out and it was perfect for about a week, and then it started making this awful whining sound whenever the car would shut off, and like all sorts of other little issues that I've had with it. So we're doing the Mark 8 PCV retrofit today to fully eradicate that problem, and that is in this Euro tuning box back here behind casing. Like I said, this should be relatively painless, but we all know how things go here. Usually they're not relatively painless at all, even when we think they are. So in the box, we've got a handful of different parts. We've got the Mark 8's PCV valve. If I didn't have my hands full, I'd grab them. We have the 034 turbo muffler delete that will be replacing it. The Mamba turbo muffler delete that came on this turbo. Those are like the two biggest components. And then inside the box as well, we have a Tiguan PCV hose, which Kason was just grabbed, and then a couple of the boost fittings and stuff like that to go on the test ports on the 034 muffler delete. So we got a pretty good job ahead of us. I'm gonna try to cover this as best as we can in a step-by-step fashion because we have yet to see any step-by-step videos on this process. And well, you guys will get to learn as we do. So let's get started. So our first step we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking out the intake. So I have the Blaze intake, which makes things 16 times harder to try to manage this stuff. So we're going to start with that to free up some access to get down there. I don't think the blow-off valve has to come out. Do you think the blow-off valve is going to have to come out? So first step we're going to do is going to take the intake out. So we'll get back to you guys once we do that. All right, so I was on the phone for a minute, but Kason got to work down here while I was doing that. Turn my copyright music down. So Kason has gotten the 3 bolts kind of loose on the turbo muffler delete, and we got the charge pipe removed. We found quite a lot of caked up oil all over the place down in this area, so I think that PCV valve is definitely on its way out. Not like a leak, right? Like
no leak. It's all within the system.
Like all within the PCV system. Yeah. So we wiped down the turbo, I think. We wiped down the inlet hose on the intake side because the Blaze doesn't have an intake elbow. So yeah, we're just working on getting those 3 bolts out down here, which is the how to swap out your turbo muffler, if in case you didn't know. Sounds like Kason is either, nope, he's loosening a bolt, okay. So luckily my Mamba turbo came with one already, but it doesn't have the test ports, and we're not drilling into it to add them. So we're going to use the 034 one that came with the kit. And then we'll start working on the top half after that once we get those set up. All right, so we are now back with this. We got the Mamba turbo muffler delete off the car, and we're going to be removing, ouch, everything we need here to swap this over. So I think one thing's for sure, we need to figure out which side of the ports we're going to utilize.
It'll sit like this, so this port probably. Because that's closer. I mean, what would they do? Is there a video on this one?
Yeah, that's what I was just watching, but they didn't use the other port. That's what I'm confused about.
Which other port? They didn't use this one? Or they didn't use both of them?
They didn't use both of them.
Yeah, one stays locked, one stays open. Which one did they use?
They didn't say in the video, they just said to use one. I don't think it matters, right? I mean, they do the same thing.
The length of the hose?
Well, yeah, I mean, like in terms of which port is better than the other.
No, yeah, I'm just trying to find out, was there a reason why, like, if there's a...
I mean...
use this one for the distance of the hose, or if it needs to come over this way, because this is going to sit on top like this.
I personally think the closer one.
Let's get out the hose that's going to connect where it needs to connect, and we'll line it up and see what distance we got first before we decide anything.
I got you. So, yeah. I am planning on upgrading the charge pipe soon in this car as well, so this is good practice, I guess. How bad is that?
I mean, it's just slightly caked on this edge.
Still, probably PCV is not happy.
I mean...
Or is it not as bad as like the intake tube
like
was?
It's fine dirt almost. It's not like liquid.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So first off, I want to give a huge thanks to Kaysen for coming and helping out today after we've already been busy all day doing all sorts of other different stuff. So go give him a sub on YouTube as well. I think he's earned it. He posts.
I've been earned it, bro.
He posts good videos in his Mark 6 every like 2 months, but they're really good videos, so it's worth the wait.
Another one I'm working on. You know, a lot of house, trying to get the outlets set up for my game room where I'll be editing my videos and even filming some other ones. So gotta make sure the electricity's good in there before I
fry
switch
everything
anything on.
Burn the house down by accident.
But getting that figured out.
But his Mark 6 just got back from getting a ton of work done, so it is actually significantly faster and more bulletproof than it was when we did the review. So maybe once he gets some more stuff done to it, like he gets all of his aesthetics and stuff done, he does have a set of wheels on order that I'm not going to speak on further because I did last time and he got upset with me. So I bet that felt good.
I can see the red in my eyelids.
Aw.
Straight blood.
But yeah, we're gonna work on this now. So like I said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize one of the ports on the 034 one, and more than likely will be the one that'll be closer to the engine, which will be closer to the one that Kaysen just poked at, and that'll be where the Venturi hose from the Tiguan's PCV hose will go, and then from there we'll hook everything back up, and we'll start on the top half of the PCV, which should be significantly easier than what we just dealt with. So Kaysen, I think, is we taking the Mamba turbo muffler delete home with him. He thinks that there might be a way to adapt it to fit the Mark 6. So maybe there is. I'm totally fine with him taking that home for free. I'm not going to use it anyway. So yeah, I mean, it's useless to me now. So yeah, we're gonna figure that out. We'll tell you which port we used and the final choice there, and show you how we routed everything, and go through this as step by step as we can. Well, we've run into a hiccup. The 034 turbo muffler delete, this is something that I haven't really talked about in any videos on this install, is needing thread sealant for the NPT stuff for the turbo muffler delete to actually do its job. So we're heading over to the AutoZone up the street to go get some thread sealant, and we'll get a quick little clip of Kaysen's Mark 6 while we do it, just because this thing is sweet. Oh boy, freshly vaporized. Gosh dang. So Kaysen has gotten this car tuned since last time you guys saw it. It's effectively a stage 2 plus, if you had to say, from TVS. The guys over there in the Netherlands cooked up a pretty good tune for this car. He also got it back from getting a clutch done recently. He got it back with charge pipes from ARM. It's pretty set up.
I did the charge pipes while I was doing water pump on it. But yeah, basically I had a billet rear main seal and a South Bend stage 2 daily, rated for 400 foot-pounds of torque, basically clutch. It's got like a 19-pound flyweight flywheel and all that. So I mean, it feels good. It's still kind of breaking in, but obviously I'm kind of beat it up on a break-in. So just not downshifting. That's all I'm doing. Oh look, there's Brandon.
I don't think he did. Your car stands out. The free rev's pretty good.
That was me barely touching it. I'll do an actual rev. Ready?
Yeah. That free rev's really good.
That valve is quiet.
So yeah, we're gonna get up to the parts store and get what we need, and we'll be back after this pull. Golly, holy pops.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Oh, wow, Brandon
It's me.
disappeared.
It's me, Brandon. Wow, that thing's small.
Oh yeah,
That's a camera?
yeah, it's a 4K camera
Oh my god.
with a gimbal. So,
I don't think you should trust me with things.
so we got Kaysen here helping out once again with Brandon, and Kaysen and I ran to go get some thread sealants, and now the 034 turbo muffler lead is ready to go in the car. Kaysen is going to reinstall that for us, and
However I get that in there.
huh?
However I get it.
Witchcraft.
It was pretty weird getting it out.
So we didn't do this by taking the battery tray and stuff out. Some people recommend that. We just kind of went at it just straight. I don't know what the correct term would be for this, but we have a term for it in the friend group.
Raw dogging it?
Yes. I don't know if that's YouTube appropriate, but I'll let Kaysen say it. So if I get demonetized, it's his fault. So yeah, we're gonna throw this in and pop the 3 bolts back in you guys saw earlier, and that step will be done. It'll be time to move on to the top plate. So it's been a few hours. We stopped to eat dinner and just chill for a bit. We're taking the coil packs out so we can get to the get the PCV valve out. Kaysen unfortunately dropped my Allen bit, and we cannot find it. So we're gonna handle this. He has to go home and take his dog out anyway.
And this
So-
is going specific, right? This has to go right there. Well, I mean, like this one.
If you want to.
These
I don't
can
think
be
it matters.
swapped.
No,
right?
it doesn't matter.
Okay, just making sure.
This is probably bad. Okay.
Did it let go?
This one did. I think one of them still kind of. I think it's.
Is it still not free?
It's coming up on my side. All right, you can pull it up. Just pull it up. Now pull it out towards you. There you go. She's off. That's a cam shot.
Yes, sir.
Trash or what? We can use
Uh,
these
Set
bolts
it
or
down.
what?
Just set
No,
it
it
down
comes
for
with new
now.
bolts, but
Okay, so you don't gotta worry about these bolts and if they're threaded or
They stay on there.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
come out.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I just wanted to see if there's like any obvious visual issues with it.
No?
No, come back this way. I think I saw something. No, okay, that was just me.
Yeah, just usual.
I mean, maybe the internal diaphragm may be bad, but
Put a light on this?
so
Put a light on here.
so
Does the new one come with a gasket on it?
Yeah, it can.
yes.
Yeah, clean off that surface. Here, don't use that dirty one. Use a silver. Is it on the shelf?
No, okay, so.
So we're gonna get to work on that. It's pretty much reverse process. If you've ever done one of these before, it's a Torx bit. I don't know the size. I literally just grabbed one and was just like, oh, that worked. It is all these bolts. You take these 2 coil packs out close to the driver's side to get to them. So I'll get it out of the car at least, and then just exercise care with the coil packs. Everyone knows how much of a pain the ground bolts are on these. So just
They're not that bad. I just
anyway,
pulled them out just fine.
just
There was
exercise
no issue.
care. Just
No issue with them. I just work here. He's never even worked on a Volkswagen before, and he just pulled them out easy.
So anyway,
I think that's a myth.
we're gonna get to installing that next and get the actual Mark 8 PCV valve in the car, and then we will get to work on getting everything else started with the rest of it probably tomorrow. One more thing I forgot to mention earlier is with the Mark 8 PCV valve, you get this like little bung with the kit from Eurotuning, and you have to install it. It's like a seal-off plate, and there's supposed to be a screw with it, but I don't see it.
It doesn't take a screw.
You sure?
Do you see threads in there? Hell no.
Well, I guess it just snaps in then. But it's supposed to. There's actually a sensor there on the Mark 8s that this obviously doesn't have. So we're just gonna pop that in, and now we're done with this part. We'll go ahead and reinstall it. The PCV hose is slightly different, but now those coil packs are out, it should actually be a little bit easier to get that hose in, and we'll be good to go. And like I said, we'll pick up tomorrow when Kaysen gets home. We got some great lighting out there. So, whoop, it fell into the car. Well, day 2. Once again, want to thank this guy for driving over an hour, 2 days in a row to come help with this thing. So, big ups to this guy. good news. I think VW just won the Nürburgring 24 in their class, back to back.
Cool.
But anyway, we're gonna open up on day 2 of this Mark 8 PCV install. We got the top plate in last night. It was a little bit more annoying than we'd like it to be. We had to take out a bunch of stuff that I forgot we had to take out last time. Got that done. I think we just have the turbo muffler delete to finish up now.
Yeah, I run 2 different size 5 mils.
Just in case.
They're 5 mils for the bolts. I only have what is it? Standard or whatever. Metric. I don't know.
It'd be like that.
The fraction.
But yep, looks like we're in the final stretch. I still gotta figure out what that vacuum cap goes to. I meant to look last night, but I got so caught up in everything else we were doing that I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I wonder why they did that.
Yeah, so we have to go watch the video back again that we were watching earlier. But yeah, at this point, it's just reinstalling the 3 bolts that go to that turbo muffler deletes. I'll see if I can get a decent view of it from here. Guys can't really quite see it, but it's down on the bottom half of the turbo. So once you get those 3 installed, we'll hook up the other line. We still have to actually route the hose in for the PCV, but here is the actual plate installed in the car. So we're gonna run that hose down, do its thing, and we'll be about done. Right.
So we'll snake it through here like this. This will go around to the bottom of the intake, and this will just have to be twisted down over the AN fitting. I've got my light. Bring it around over here. Here, I'll hold it for you. So, AN fitting has been clocked just enough to where it's angled up. It's not in the way of the actual hose coming off the turbo muffler, and the worm clamp is not blocking it in any way. We put some thread sealant on there. So this smaller hose is gonna go on that, and then this bigger end is gonna go on the bottom of the intake. This is gonna go to the PCV right here. So yeah, we'll get this routed through.
And because I'm sure people are gonna comment about the gunk on the edge of the turbo, I am about to wipe it down.
Get some brake cleaner on that.
And yeah, we're gonna get it shined up a little bit before we throw it on there.
In there.
Yeah. Because I did that when we did the blow-off valve, and I didn't bother trying to clean it up, so I'm gonna definitely shine that up a little bit before we throw everything back together. Okay guys, so here's a little tip that we found out the hard way, since there's really not a lot of people covering this, and I want to make sure we highlight this in the video for anyone who is going to be installing this themselves. The PCV hose itself has a very particular way it goes on. If you just try to throw it on there willy-nilly, it's probably not going to go on. So we I'll get there. We fought with it for like 20 minutes and finally figured out how to get this routed. So the way we're routing this is behind my GFB blow-off valve. At least that's what we're going to try to do. Then how did the hose have to sit? Can you show everyone real fast? Like how it's supposed to, well, the orientation of the hose itself.
It locks in specifically, kind of. I think the tabs on the actual hose have to sit up and down, to where this is almost downward, and you'll just kind of twist it in place for the actual intake. Where this sits on, it's kind of hard to get it lined up that way, but
It's doable.
it's definitely doable. It's just
Very tight space, so
I mean, it'll be almost more like that, from what I can tell, because this has to face sideways, but this has to clip in a very particular way onto the actual PCV. Can't just spin, so.
Yeah, so it's very particular. We found that out the hard way. I've watched several videos on this retrofit and no one makes mention of that. So just keep that in mind for when you're doing this install. So I'm gonna keep filming while Paul Kaysen routes it, and that way you guys know how we routed it, so it might be a little bit easier for you guys. Like I said, the goal of this video is different than my other install videos. We're trying to cover any loose ends that people may not have covered, and you know, show you guys that you can totally DIY this in your garage. So, all right, so Kaysen is doing the last little hose clamp on the small hose down by the turbo muffler deletes. And I'm trying to get a decent view of it. You can see the pliers at least. So how we routed this is we routed it under the coil pack harness around the blow-off valve, and then this piece here will be what goes into the intake on the back here, right where Kaysen's left hand is. So we got to figure out how we're going to get that twisted up just right to get into the intake. It's a very difficult thing to twist, but like we were saying, this is like the only way this hose goes on, and so it's a very, very odd orientation. But it's like me and Kaysen talked about. This is a retrofit kit for this car. It was not like from VW meant for this platform at all. It was meant for a TIG. The hose is meant for a Tiguan, so there is some inherent difficulties with that. But we are pretty close to just wrapping this up, and Kaysen just dropped my pliers. He found them. Kaysen's got them little skinny hands that I don't have. All right, well, we're finally done. So this has been far from the cakewalk everyone made it out to be. Everyone's like, oh, this is not much harder than a typical PCV swap, which if you're familiar with these, PCV swaps on these are actually relatively simple. So for it to be a 2-day job, pretty much, which I mean, it would have been a 1-day job, but me and Kaysen and Brandon and Michael had a bunch of stuff going on yesterday that we needed to handle for Kaysen's wedding. So, you know, groom here needed groom things to be done. So that obviously took away time. I want to bet if we had all day yesterday, we could have easily gotten this done yesterday.
Yeah, and if I didn't lose that, which
we found it.
The Allen key.
It was literally on the cowl.
The Allen bit I lost. I thought it fell down there. It was literally sitting up here. Somehow it flew out up here. So we're gonna go invest in some
yes.
better version of those.
We're gonna go take it for a test drive, and I'll talk about that in the next video, probably.
I want to hold tight with it. I'll shine my light.
We'll just.
Go over how everything runs finally.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
Kaysen's gonna go over everything for you guys as kind of a wrap up.
okay, so. All right, the PCV on this changes between the Mark 8 and the 7. This one uses a standard like round kind of fitting right here that clips on, whereas the 7 uses this guy. So totally different how it fits. This obviously is formed to fit that top. That one's formed as if, or it was also a Tiguan piece. So it's totally different. So we had to route it. Like I said, I removed the coil pack tops, routed it behind the coil packs, underneath this coolant, this hard line of coolant line or whatever, breather line, around the back of his blow-off valve, and he used his absolute
strength.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to use the other word. Strength to rotate it into this. Now it didn't clip in for some reason. I mean, it might have, and it just has room to slide back and forth a little, but it's on there. That thing is not coming off. I don't think the PCV will build enough pressure to push it off, but it has an O-ring too to seal it, so it's okay. And then to do that, if you have a blaze, this is going to be pretty high up, low tolerance zone, so you're going to have to just really force it. Also, if you have this kind of blow-off valve, you got to remove the trumpet and this connector off the back here to allow it to some room, and then you're just going to have to use your intake to push everything back to allow room to get this connector back on, and then you can just thread this back in once you have your space back. It just allows for a little more clearance to put everything in place. Other than that, I mean, the only thing I can't stand sometimes is that a lot of aftermarket German parts use Allen head style stuff. Not everyone has Allen head sockets. Like I didn't even have the 5mm Allen head socket that it uses, so I had to use an actual Allen key, and that was just tedious trying to twist, pull off, twist, especially in a tight area down there on the turbo muffler delete. That's what it was. But other than that, getting the turbo muffler delete The hardest
I was
part.
about to ask.
Yeah, the hardest part is routing the Tiguan PCV line from the intake to the actual Mark 8 PCV. The Mark 8 PCV fits perfectly fine. And I mean, if it weren't for how stiff that line is, it'd be fine. But it definitely is very hard, especially if you have a lot larger of an intake with less clearance. So having this one though, I mean, we got it done. But yeah, I think that's really it. Everything's buttoned back up. We're gonna go see what it feels like, make sure it's good before we call it done.
So just to add on to what Kaysen said about the blow-off valve situation, most people don't run this. This is a unique to my car thing, and a lot of like a handful of other GTIs are running these now. So you won't struggle with that extra bit of headache like we did if you have the OEM diverter valve. You'll still have probably a little bit of difficulty with the connector on the back of it, but in terms of having to dodge the horn and all that kind of stuff, the trumpet, whatever you want to call it, to get everything mounted back in, I mean, it's not going to be as much of a headache if you have the OEM setup. So. But yeah, that is the Mark 8 PCV, and as close to a step-by-step as we could provide for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Go sub to Kaysen. Huge help to him. He's definitely earned some free lunch and some other probably goodies for washing his car and stuff with all my good detailing kit, as long as we have time, because he's got to get back to his house and, you know, go visit his fiance driving home from a big music festival. So thank you all so much. We're going to go test this thing out, go to Harbor Freight, buy some tools, and we will bring you guys along on the next mod journey with this car. So thank you all. See you guys later, and have a good day.